Process servers fail to get ahead because of a few simple reasons. Today we'll show you 3 easy, no-cost ways to improve your process service business and turn your clients into fans.
Hi, I'm Mr. PI.
And I'm Mrs. PI.
If you're new here, we help new and struggling private investigators and process servers grow their businesses to $100,000 or more in 12 months or less.
With a combined 30 years of experience, we know what to do and what not to do.
Follow us to take the guesswork out of running your business.
In this video, we'll show you 3 simple ways to make your business stand apart from the competition and increase your monthly revenue.
So let's get right into it. So the first simple way to improve your process server business is to improve your communication.
Yes, communication is key, especially with your clients, with your team, and with the recipients of who you're serving.
That's right. So clients, they want to be updated regularly. So, we found that the more that we talk with our clients, either through phone calls or emails, the better the relationship with the clients, the fewer miscommunications and the fewer mishaps, and the better perceived client satisfaction that we receive.
Yes. Clients usually are attorneys, and they want to be able to tell their clients exactly where we are in the process of getting somebody served.
Mm-hmm. And I think one of the key things to remember is the attorney's client, so usually that would be the plaintiff in the case. This is their only case that they're concerned about, and it's the only thing that's on their mind. Now, what they don't understand, nor should they, is that attorneys, private investigators, and process servers have numerous cases that they're working on, and their particular case, that client's particular case, may not be on the forefront of the mind. So there are ways that you could automate communication with the attorneys so that it doesn't take a significant amount of your time away.
Yeah, that's very important. If you have an automated system or set days that you send updates to your client, it's important because, again, their client is only worried about that one particular case, their case.
That's right. And communication with your team is also important. If you're a case manager or a coordinator and you're juggling, 20, 30, 100 different cases, you want to make sure that you have methods put in place so that you can get key information to the field quickly and efficiently. That way it makes your job easier and your process server's job easier.
It's very important. Especially with your team, with your process servers, especially if you have more than one process server, it's important to get updates to them efficiently, especially if they have a heavy caseload. You don't want to forget about an update to a process server and then they go to the wrong place or a wrong address. So it's important to keep them updated.
And lastly, with recipients, or the defendant, the respondent, the witness in the case, it's also important to communicate with those folks efficiently as well. And one of the things that I talk about a lot with my new process servers, especially those who come from law enforcement or military, is softening their language. So I think if you've got a background in law enforcement or military, you want to use the same language that you would with a potential suspect. And sometimes it's a little harsh. Sometimes the language is a little scary to someone who may just be receiving a subpoena to produce documents. So soften the language, talk to them like a lay person. Always be respectful, play devil's advocate if you have to. Because if the person receiving the papers feels like that you're on their side, or at least empathize with their position, then they're going to give you far less headache in getting the paper served.
That's true. And also remember that we're not attorneys, so we never give legal advice. A lot of times the people that we interact with, they will want to ask you questions because they don't know what their document means. So just remember that we're not attorneys.
Mm-hmm. So one of the ways that you could quickly and effectively improve your communication is through email templates.
Yes. We have found that just short templates that you can quickly produce to clients. Emails that you use regularly. For example, quoting for a process server job. It's important to just quickly be able to shoot out an email with all the pertinent information.
And I think to build upon that, many of you may be NAPS members or some other professional process server organization. And, if you're like us and you send out requests for assistance from colleagues across the country, you see a plethora of different types of responses. And the responses that we see more frequently than not, and it's kind of sad that we see them, is, we have a job in, insert city and state, and we get an email back that basically has a $sign and a 6 and a 5 beside it. There's no other information.
That's the whole email.
And, and the first thing that we do is we say, hey, we're not going to hire that person because that person didn't take enough time to reply to our request. What kind of job were they going to do in the field for us?
But it's not hard to make the template once you get it down. So, instead of sitting at your computer and writing out the email every single time, you have a quick template that looks like you've spent a lot of time.
That's right.
on sending the email.
And we've got these templates saved in our email tool so that whether it be us or one of our staff members, we can quickly and efficiently send out a quick professional email with a quote, maybe just tweak a couple things on the message, and it takes seconds instead of minutes. So if you're interested in perhaps learning about our process on how we quote the jobs or maybe the templates, put a comment down below and we'll make a video on that. But another email template that would be beneficial would be to document your attempts. This is big for the attorney so that the attorneys stay apprised as to your status, as well as being able to then relay that information to their client. So, if you've got a female who's extremely eager because she's maybe filed for divorce and she wants to know where they're at in the process and when to expect her husband to come in and grill her, the documenting the attempts is really important. Your template to document your attempts should include the time of the attempt, the date of the attempt, the address of the attempt, and then a disposition, just a quick 1 or 2 sentence explanation of what you faced when you arrived at the location. So that could be as simple as an attempt was made on Monday, January 1st, 2025 at 5 p.m. At insert address. There was no answer at the door. I left a contact card, I left a business card, I left a notice, etc. That just lets the attorney know that you're working on the case. So again, if you have the template set up where it's just a few clicks and that template, that email goes out, then it really doesn't take you a whole lot of time, out of your day when you're out there trying to serve papers. It doesn't take additional time out of your day to get that email off. So, another email template that I think would be extremely important and make you look very professional would be an invoicing template. One of the issues that we receive occasionally is we'll receive an invoice that was just, typed out on a Word document, or, maybe it was, heck, on a napkin. There's been examples of invoices that we've received without invoice numbers, without any connection to our case, and those are very difficult to deal with. And it's very hard to pay them properly when there's no invoice number and there's no recipient information. You run the likelihood of misapplying funds to the wrong case. Mm-hmm. It's important to have that on the invoice. And not to mention it's just really unprofessional. We're process servers just like you are, and if we're complaining about the type of invoice that we receive, imagine someone who's not in the industry. Imagine an attorney or an individual pro se client perhaps that receives that invoice. What kind of message does that send to them? And there's really no excuse for it. There's plenty of free invoicing apps that exist out there that'll make your invoices look professional. It'll help you receive credit and debit card payments. It'll send automated reminders, again, giving you more time back into your day. If you're interested in some of those apps, again, comment below and perhaps we'll do a video on that. Okay. And the last email template that I recommend would be team and vendor expectations. Have a written document that lets your team or an outside vendor, if you're reaching out across the country to get some assistance, on what your expectations are. How many attempts that you want, how frequently those attempts need to be made, what kind of update that you prefer, how you want to be invoiced, whether it be in advance or in arrears. Other information that you see fit. The key, again, is communication. You want to make sure that everybody's on the same page and everybody does a consistent and pleasing job, not only for you, but for the client that you're serving.
A note about the vendor expectations when you send that email out is every state is different. So important reminders with, for example, personal service or subservice, blue ink, whatever your stipulations are, please remember to put that in the email because they can't read our mind and they don't know what our laws are from state to state.
Yeah, that's a great point. Florida, for example, will allow subservice in certain situations, but Tennessee is a state that requires personal service 100% of the time with very few exceptions.
Very few.
So it's really important to convey that information to your team member or vendor that you're using. The second simple, cost-effective way that you can improve your process server business and bring in more clients is through improving your pricing structure. Now, this one's going to be a hot topic because
we do it different.
We do it different than most.
Than most companies.
Yeah. It seems like in the process server arena, there are a certain few, I don't know if they would be rules or commandments that
unspoken rules.
Definitely unspoken rules that people just won't break, and I think that it's really doing a disservice not only to you but to the industry as a whole. So let's dive into this. So
and this could be a whole video by itself, just because it's different.
And we'll try to keep this one on point, but you're right. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I could say about this, but under pricing structure, the first thing, have a fee schedule. Have some kind of tangible document, digital document, a menu, if you will, of the services that you offer, the costs associated with them, and make them clear so that your clients know what to expect when they hire you. Again, some attorneys or pro se clients, they don't know the ins and outs of the business. So you want to educate them about how process service works, how the fees work, how the attempts work. So have that fee schedule, that fee sheet. What are some things that you believe that they should include on the fee sheet?
They need to list the counties or how they break down their regions, as it's very important, especially if you're serving a broad region or area. So you want to make sure you have a list of the counties and the coinciding fee that corresponds to it. Also, list the number of attempts. In our case, we do this a little bit differently, and we break ours down into region or county, if you will. And the closer counties to our headquarters, our office, have a higher cap attempt than, say, a county that's further away. So make sure that you're really clear about how many attempts that your server will provide in the region or county.
Mm-hmm. And make sure if you list the number of attempts, some of the language that you'll put on that fee sheet would be up to X amount
Correct.
of attempts. You don't want to list that you'll make 5 attempts and then on the second attempt you find out it's a bad address and then the attorney continue to send you out to that address just to max out the attempts and get their money's worth. So make sure that language is on there. That's just a pro tip.
But that also goes back to communication. If you're communicating regularly to your client, then that would alleviate the the bad address.
Another way to improve your pricing structure is make some simple changes to stand out amongst the competition. This is going to be a hot topic because obviously there's a way that we have served papers for all of eternity, and this is the way it is, and this is how we're going to do it. Right. We're going to make 3 attempts. It's going to be X amount of dollars, and if we have to go to a different address, it's another fee. So there's some simple ways you can change this that I promise you will not only increase customer satisfaction, but it will increase your total revenue. So, for example, make more attempts. Don't just settle for 3. If it's an area that's close to you, make 4 attempts, make 5 attempts. I'm not going to advocate for making unlimited attempts by any means. But if you add an additional attempt or 2, especially if it's a home territory, that's going to stand out because the attorney's going to send off quotes. They're going to get 10 people saying we're going to make 3 attempts, and then they're going to get yours. And yours is going to say, hopefully in a very professional way because of your email template, yours is going to say, we will make 4 attempts. And that will stick with that attorney.
Correct. Also, something to think about is include a free notary, especially if you have somebody in your office that is a notary. Include that as well as to make a simple change to stand out. A lot of companies will charge for a notary, and it's just simply it's just old-fashioned.
Another way that you could change to stand out would be bill per county and not address. So one of the things that we've done is, we will make up to X number of attempts in this county. So if our max number of attempts is 5, we will go to 5 different addresses as long as they're in the same county, and we don't charge another fee unless we go either over the attempt cap or if we go to a different county. One of the things that's really frustrating, again for us, and I know for the attorneys, is when you will show up at an address and it turns out to be a bad address, and the new address is right next door, and somebody goes right next door and charges you a whole nother fee. Although that's the way that it's been done for many years, it doesn't leave a good taste in the client's mouth.
It doesn't have to be that way. Another way to stand out amongst the competition is include returning the service originals to the court. A lot of times we've seen companies that will return it to the attorney, but we offer the service where we will return the documents either by delivering it by hand to the courthouse, especially if it's close, or we will mail it to the courthouse, which is something that I think really makes us stand out. Not a lot of companies offer that service.
Yeah, and that may be a chore in the beginning, but if you're implementing some of these simple changes and your revenue is increasing, you'll be able to hire an assistant or a runner who can then make daily trips to and from the courthouse. And in our case, that's what we've been fortunate enough to do, and it's a game changer. The level of service that we can provide has increased significantly, and our revenue is there to show it.
But if you are interested and are maybe a little bit unsure about the process of returning documents to the court, leave a comment and we can make a video on the templates that we use, the verbiage that we use, and kind of run down the process with you.
And lastly, another way just to simply increase the level of service is offer free body cam verification or time-stamped photos. I think a lot of servers take photos, so this isn't anything new or revolutionary, but having some kind of evidence, some kind of proof that you were there, and documenting your attempts, I think that would take any question off the table of did you go 4 times, did you go 3 times, did you serve the right person. So those are just some things that you can do if you're not already doing them, and they're cheap. Everybody's got a camera in their pocket. There's some free apps out there that'll put GPS coordinates, time and date stamp on the photo. So everybody should be doing that, honestly. And I think that moves on to our last topic under pricing structure, and that's Don't nickel and dime your clients. This is something we've touched on throughout the conversation, but we'll get into some specifics. These things that you can make these quick little tweaks, and I think that your professional image will increase tenfold.
Yeah. So the first thing that we include is, and that we don't nickel and dime you for, is billing for affidavits. So that is all encompassed into the flat rate price that we provide. We don't bill for affidavits or the notary, which I had touched on before. So not billing for affidavits and notary is something huge that I think that we provide, that you should probably think about.
Yeah, and we touched on billing for each address. Another thing, postage. If it's first class mail, standard return postage, don't bill for it. And here's the bottom line. So some of these things you can consider cost of doing business. Others you may want to recoup. If you're going to have to charge for some of these things, if you have to charge for notary, if you have to charge for affidavits, if you have to charge for postage, build it into your price in advance. So instead of quoting $50 plus $15 for notary, plus $5 for return postage, plus so on and so forth, increase your price. Make it one flat rate price. Make it simple. Make it clear. On your price sheet, say for $100, you're going to get X number of attempts in one county at one address, whatever the case is. You will get a notarized affidavit mailed to your office, all for that flat rate. I think that would increase perception of your company significantly.
Correct. I agree. It's been a game changer for us.
It's been a game changer, and you could potentially even make more money doing it that way.
Because basically what we're doing is taking all the work out for the attorney, and let's face it, they have a huge caseload too. So as much as we can take away from them for them to go to the courthouse or for them to draft an affidavit, that makes you and your company look even more professional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and being able to do those things and for the attorney to be able to count on you is invaluable.
Correct. The number 3 way to improve your business is improve your affidavits. We've all seen it. We've all seen an affidavit from a process server that hasn't been proofread or looks very generic. And so here are some ways to improve your affidavit.
And they're free.
They are free.
So number 1, the quickest change that you can make to improve your affidavits, and it's a simple one, copy the case style of the service documents. Copy the style, the formatting. You've got a summons, you've got a complaint, a citation, depending on where you're at. Copy it. Just take that, move it over to your format in Microsoft Word, Google Docs, whatever word processing app that you want to use. Copy it. Make it match the documents that were drafted by the attorney. That is going to boost your professional image significantly right off the bat. Takes just a few minutes, costs you nothing.
Yeah, and it really stands out to your client. Another way seems super simple. Use proper English, grammar, punctuation. Use your spell check. It's your friend. It's already there on your computer, but make sure that you're using that.
And there's a software, you can get a free version of it called Grammarly. We install it on all of our computers at our office. Grammarly just takes spell check to the next level.
Kind of takes the guesswork out of it for you.
Improves your language, your grammar. It's again, there's a paid version, but there's a free version. The free version does a great job.
So another important thing is prepare an affidavit for each recipient. A lot of times we will have paperwork that will list more than one defendant or respondent or whatever the case may be, but make an affidavit for each recipient. It's more professional, and it proves, it's just a layer of protection that proves that we have served each individual that's on the paper.
Mm-hmm. And if you're serving, multiple recipients, defendants, respondents, what have you, on the same case, it's as simple as just making a duplicate of the first affidavit and changing the names.
Correct.
Maybe some of the details as to, time and date that you served it. So it shouldn't take you much longer. And again, it just increases your professional image. And lastly, I think, this kind of goes back to drafting the affidavits to match the service docs. Please don't rely on the generic affidavits from your process server software. I know Serve Manager, Process Server Toolbox, they have affidavits that are produced from your case. Unfortunately,
those are pretty generic.
They're very generic, and we've had attorneys tell us, that they just don't look professional, that they're garbage affidavits, for lack of a better term. So, if you prefer to use those, if there's a way that you can go into it and change the formatting, that's great. If you're just doing so much volume that you don't have time to draft, a Word document of your affidavit, fine. But, if you have a few minutes and you want to improve your image, make your affidavits match the service docs. That way, whether it's the court or the attorney, the paralegals, nobody can tell the difference between the document you drafted and the document the attorney drafted.
Should be very seamless.
Okay. And one last thing, and I know this is a big one for you. The
biggest thing that I could stress in this particular section is sign your documents in blue ink. I know it seems very elementary to have to say that, but you would be surprised at how many people would sign in black ink. And the courthouses, court clerks, they can't sometimes tell the difference between a copy of a document and an original if you sign in black ink. So please always use blue ink when signing your documents.
Yeah. And I think it's fair to say that's an attorney's favorite color.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about affidavits, if you would like an absolutely free template of the exact affidavit that we use with our clients, just click the link in the description, enter your email, and we'll send it right to you.
So there you have it. Implement these simple changes, and you'll be sure to impress your existing clients and your future prospects.
And if you have any questions or would like to suggest a topic for us to discuss in a future video, please leave us a comment below.
If you found value in this video, please like and subscribe.
We hope to see you soon.